Start.
Good morning, students. How are you all? I hope you are fine. Now, students, today we are going to see Geography, chapter number 8, How Seasons Occur, part 2. This chapter we have started in the last session. So, we will see the screen. What is the name of the chapter? Yes. So, this is the topic, How Seasons Occur, part 2. And my name is Manisha Jadhav. And I will continue this chapter as I have finished the half part in the first session. So first we will quickly see what we have seen in the last session. So these are the points. Apparent movement of the sun, factors responsible for the apparent movement of the sun, Dakshinayan, Uttarayan, perihelion and ephelion. So students, we will see what are these concepts in detail. We will see in the next slide. See students, what is this apparent movement of the sun? So apparent movements means the sun's position appears to move towards the north or south in the course of a year. This movement of the sun is called as apparent movement of the sun. Means what, student? The sun is not moving. In reality, the earth is moving, so the sun appears to be moving towards the north or south. That is called as apparent movement of the sun. Now next we have seen Dakshinayan. So you know that Dakshin means south. So when the position of the rising sun keeps on moving towards the south in the period from 21st June to 22nd December, this period is called as Dakshinayan. Means the sun is appearing to move towards the south. That is called as Dakshinayan. So that period is called as Dakshinayan. And next we have seen Uttarayan. Means what? The position of the rising sun keeps moving towards the north in the period from 22nd December to 21st June. This period is called as Uttarayan. So this Dakshinayan and Uttarayan we will see in the next slide. We will see the figure. See here students, you can see from 21st June to 22nd December, you can see that the sun is appearing to move towards the south. That is called as Dakshinayan. And from 22nd December to 21st June, it appears to move towards the Uttara, means north. That is called as Uttarayan. So next what we have seen, we will see in the next slide. Yes, we have seen why the sun appears to be moving. What are the factors responsible for the apparent movement of the sun? There are two reasons. First is the revolution of the earth around the sun, and second is the tilted axis of the earth. Because of the revolution of the earth and the axis of the earth is tilted, it spins around itself in a tilted axis. Because of these two reasons, the sun appears to be moving. And next what we have seen students, perihelion and ephelion position. Now what is this perihelion? The position of the earth in which it is at a maximum distance from the sun is called as perihelion position of the earth. Means what students? The sun is nearer to the earth. This position of the earth is called as perihelion. And when it occurs, students, it occurs in the first week of January. And in this position, the southern end of the earth's axis is towards the sun. And next we have seen ephelion. In this position, the earth is farther from the sun. It is far away from the sun. So the position of the earth in which it is at a maximum distance from the sun is called as aphelion position of the earth. It occurs in the first week of July. And in this position, The northern end of the Earth's axis is towards the sun. Now we will see this perihelion and ephelion in the next slide. We will see its figure. See here, you can see students. Here in the right hand side, you can see the Earth is near to the sun and the southern end of the Earth is facing towards the sun. This position is called as perihelion, and in the left hand side you can see the Earth is far away from the sun. That position of the Earth is called as ephelion. And here you can see the northern end of the Earth's axis is towards the sun. So this all we have seen in the last session. Now what we are going to see in this session, that we will see in the next slide. See the next slide, students. So what all concepts we are going to cover in this session are equinox, spring or vernal equinox and autumnal equinox, solstice days, types of seasons, cycle of the seasons and the living world. So before starting this, students, we have seen that the Earth's axis is tilted. It is not moving in a straight way. Its axis is tilted. So either the southern end of the Earth's axis is towards the sun or the northern end is towards the sun. So how it happens, we will see in the next slide. So here in the next slide, you can see that in the first figure, the north end of the Earth's axis is towards the sun. And in the next figure, you can see the south end of the Earth's axis is towards the sun. So here, either the north pole gets the sun's rays or the south pole of the Earth gets the sun's rays directly. So sometimes what happens, children? Both the poles, North Pole and South Pole, are at an equal distance from the sun. That position of the Earth is called as equinox. So we will see next slide. What is this equinox? See here, students, in this figure you can see here the North Pole and South Pole are at an equal distance from the sun. So this condition is called as equinox. Here again you can see, students, that the sun's rays are perpendicular to the equator. Equator means what, student? The imaginary line that divides the earth into northern and southern hemispheres. So here you can see the sun's rays are perpendicular. Perpendicular means what? They make 90-degree angle with the equator. And this condition, it occurs on 2 days in a year, on 21st or 22nd March and 23rd September. Okay, students. So here you can see the North Pole and South Pole. They are at an equal distance from the sun's rays, from the sun, and so the equator is receiving perpendicular sun rays. This is called as equinox. Now in the next figure, what we will see, next slide, we will see how the earth is divided on these equinox days. So here you can see the earth, half part of the earth is illuminated and half part of the earth is dark. So you can see an imaginary circle which divides the earth into illuminated and dark portion. That imaginary circle is called as circle of illumination. And here you can see the sun's rays are perpendicular to the equator. Here you can see that the equator is forming 90-degree angle with the sun's rays, and also the circle of illumination that divides all the parallels from North Pole to South Pole into equal parts. Here Observe the figure carefully, students. Here you can see, and you can see the 12 hours. Here, what is this 12 hours? Means the daytime and night time are of 12 hours. Daytime and night time are equal. So next slide we will see about this equinox days.
Miss,
What happens? Yes, students.
hello, Miss, how the sun rays occur perpendicular?
Because the North Pole and South Pole are at an equal distance and sun is direct perpendicular. The sun's rays fall directly on the equator, no? So because of that, what happened? The sun's rays and equator form 90-degree angle. Okay.
Okay, Miss.
Okay. So now what we have seen here, the circle of illumination divides all the parallels from North Pole to South Pole equally. That we have seen all the parallels we have seen in the last figure. So they are divided into equal parts, and the circle of illumination coincides with the great circle formed by two opposite meridians. Now, this circle of illumination coincides with the great circle. What is this great circle? In the 6th standard, you have studied meridians. They are the imaginary vertical lines. So, this circle of illumination coincides with the great circle formed by two opposite meridians. And in this equinox position, on the earth, night time and daytime are of equal duration. Now next what we will see, students, type of equinox in northern hemisphere. So you know that the equator divides earth into northern and southern hemisphere. So in the northern hemisphere, what are these equinox days called? They are called as spring or vernal equinox and autumnal equinox. So when are the spring and vernal equinox happening? In northern hemisphere, 21st March is called as spring or vernal equinox. So why they are called like this? Because in northern hemisphere, spring prevails from 21st March to 21st June. So as the spring starts from 21st March, so this day is called as spring or vernal equinox. And next, the autumn prevails from 23rd September to 22nd December. So this day of starting of the autumn is called as autumnal equinox. Okay, students. Now we will see the next slide. See here, students, you can see this figure. Here you can see this is a position of the earth. You can see two positions of the earth on 21st June and 22nd December. In the first figure, you can see the north pole is towards the sun. And in second position, you can see the south pole is towards the sun. So observe this figure carefully, students. I'm going to ask some questions on this. See what all you can see in this figure. Now I will ask some questions. Listen carefully and answer it. See here in the figure A, you can see. So I am going to ask regarding this figure A. Which pole is receiving sunlight in figure A?
North
North
Pole.
Pole.
Yes, very good. And second question is, which pole is not receiving sunlight in figure B?
North Pole.
North
Yes,
Pole.
not receiving sunlight. Very good. Now, third question is, which hemisphere has the longest daytime on 21st June?
Miss, repeat the question.
Which hemisphere is having the longest daytime on 21st June?
North Pole.
Northern
So,
Hemisphere.
yes, northern
Northern
hemisphere. I
Hemisphere.
have asked about the hemisphere. So you will
Yes.
answer like this. The
Northern
northern
Hemisphere.
hemisphere is having the longest daytime on 21st June. Now
Okay.
next question is, which hemisphere will have the longest night on 22nd December?
Northern hemisphere.
Yes, correct. So, last question I am going to ask now. Which date will the Tropic of Cancer receive perpendicular sun rays? Which is the date when the Tropic of Cancer? Now, what is this Tropic of Cancer, students? Above the equator, you can see a line.
Yes.
Yes, that is
We
Tropic
know
of Cancer.
Tropic of
So, on
Cancer.
which date? 21st June or 22nd December? It is receiving perpendicular sun rays.
22nd December.
22nd December.
No, students. See here, you can see on 22nd December, it is above the equator. And on 21st June, you can see these sun rays are falling directly on the Tropic of Cancer. See here, see
Okay.
carefully, students. I will explain this afterwards.
Yes.
So the answer for this is 21st June. They are receiving perpendicular rays. The Tropic of Cancer is receiving perpendicular rays on 21st June. So by
Yes.
this, seeing this figure, what we can see, students, the because of the rotation of the Earth, what happens? The axis of the Earth is tilted. So either the North Pole is towards the Sun or South Pole is towards the Sun. So next,
Miss,
you see what happens.
Miss, I have a question.
Yes, ask.
ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैप्रिकॉर्न पे भी परपेंडिकुलर रेस पड़ते हैं क्या जब ट्रॉपिक ऑफ कैंसर पे
Yes,
पड़ते हैं क्या
yes. Tropic of Cancer receives perpendicular rays on 21st June and Tropic of Capricorn receive perpendicular rays on 22nd December. Okay. So these 2 days, what we are going to see in the next slide, what are these days called? You will see the next slide, students, now.
यस
See, these days are called as solstice days. Now we will see in detail what are these. The sun rays are perpendicular at the equator on 21st or 22nd March and 23rd September, that is on equinox. This we have seen. So after these 2 days, what happens, students? The parallels between the equator and the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn start receiving perpendicular rays. After this equinox, the other parallels above the equator and below the equator, they start receiving the perpendicular sun rays. So only on 21st June, the sun rays become perpendicular on the Tropic of Cancer that we have seen in the last figure. And on 22nd December, the sun rays became perpendicular on the Tropic of Capricorn. So these 2 days are called as solstice days. So we have seen equinox days and we have seen solstice days now. So this 21st June has the longest day and shortest night in the northern hemisphere. So why it is happening, students? Because the North Pole, the northern hemisphere is facing towards the sun. So that is the reason why it is having longest day and shortest night. Similarly, on 22nd December, it has the longest day and shortest night in the southern hemisphere. Why? Because the south end of the Earth's axis is facing towards the sun. So it is having the longest day and shortest night. And what happens in the Arctic Circle, in the region above the Arctic Circle? In the region between Arctic Circle and the North Pole, the sun is visible in the sky from 22nd March to 23rd September. So after the equinox, what happens? The region above the Arctic Circle and North Pole, it is receiving sun's rays. Similarly, in the region between Antarctic Circle and the South Pole, the sun is visible in the sky from 23rd September to 21st March. Now next we will see in the next slide the duration of day and night is same throughout the year at the equator, that is 12 hours each. So here the equator, there is no change in the equator, in the region of the equator. it receives the sun rays throughout the year. So the duration of day and night is always equal in the region of the equator. Now next we are going to see why these seasons occur. Seasons have been decided on the basis of duration of sunlight, equinoxes and solstices. So these are the three reasons why seasons occur. We have seen equinoxes and solstices. So next what it is, the equatorial region does not experience any change of season. As I have told you earlier students, that the equator is always receiving sunlight. So there is no change in the season. It is having the same type of climate. Hence the climate in that region does not change at all in the year. But in places beyond the equator and below the equator, what happens students, see, in places beyond the equatorial region in either hemispheres, summers or winters are experienced one after the other within a year. So this region receive sunlight, more sunlight or less sunlight. So because of that, the seasons change. These seasons repeat one after the other. This occurrence of seasons one after the other in a year leads to the cycle of season. So what is the cycle of students? The repetition of seasons one after the other in a year is called as cycle of seasons. Now we will see in the next slide which all seasons we can see on the earth. See, generally there are only two types of seasons, summer and winter on the earth. But due to local conditions, seasons other than summer and winter are seen to occur in different parts. So here you can see in so many countries there is only summer and winter. But depending on the climate of the region, this season changes. So for example, in India, there is winter season, summer season, rainy season. So it depends on the local conditions, how the climate is there. So here, next point is what? In India, we consider four seasons such as summer, the rainy season, the period of retreating monsoon, and winter. So, students, you know summer, rainy, and winter season. What is this retreating monsoon? Retreating monsoon means what? When the rainy season ends. After that, again, some rain occurs in the month of September and October. That is called as retreating monsoon. So in India, we can see these four type of seasons. And in other countries such as Europe and North America, there are summer, autumn, winter, and spring season. So this depends on the local condition of the region. So because of these seasons, the living world, the life of the people, animal, vegetation, it also changes. So here we will see in the next slide what happens to the life of the people, animals. See here, the living world is affected by the cycle of seasons. For example, in the region above the Arctic Circle and below the Antarctic Circle, even the mild sunlight available for a part of year gives rise to certain flora and fauna. So students, you know that in the North Pole and South Pole, it is very cold. So when it receives a mild sunlight, even that is responsible for the growth of certain flora and fauna. What is this flora and fauna? Flora means plants and fauna means animals. So because of this sunlight, at that part of the year when they receive sunlight, that time only the some plants grow. And next, what is this students? You can see these animals, this bird. So here first one is the penguin, second is the seal, and third one is the walrus. So these are found in the Antarctic region. So where is this Antarctic region? It is below the equator in the southern hemisphere. It is below the Antarctic circle. So this region is called as Antarctic region. Here you can find birds like penguin, fish like seal, and animals like walruses. So why these animals are found there only? Because it is very cold, and here these animals can survive in that region. And in next slide we are going to see which animals are found in the Arctic region. Above the equator, above the Arctic Circle, these animals are found, students. This first one is reindeer, second is polar bear, Arctic foxes, etc. More animals are there. So in polar region of the northern hemisphere, animals like reindeer, polar bears, Arctic foxes, etc. are found. So these animals can survive in this region because see, you can see they have thick hair. But students, what happens? Some animals or birds, they cannot survive in this cold region. So what happens, students? They migrate. Migrate means what? They go to some other place in search of food because in this cold region, the trees cannot grow. So the animals cannot find their food. So at that time, they go to another region. So we will see some examples of such birds. In the next slide, we will see, students. Some birds are there. Next slide. See here, during extreme cold climatic conditions, when the food supply becomes scarce, number of birds and animals migrate temporarily. Temporarily means what? When there is so much of cold, that time they migrate and again they come in that region when it is summer season. So here you can see this bird. It is called as Arctic fern. So here, once the winter at the North Pole becomes severe, this bird travels to the southwards. So here this bird is living in the northern hemisphere, in the North Pole. So when the cold increases, it travels to the southern hemisphere where there is summer season. So again, when summer season starts in the North Pole, it comes back. When it is summer in the northern hemisphere, it flies back towards the North Pole. So how much it travels, students? In the course of 1 year, it travels around 70,000 kilometers. So this is the Arctic fern. Other example we will see in the next slide. See, this is the Siberian crane. Students, you must have seen this bird. This travels in India. So its name is Siberian crane. Due to severe winter and lack of food, cranes from the cold northern regions visit India, traveling around 8,000 to 10,000 kilometers. So they also come from the northern region. They come to India when it is good climate in India. So once the summer starts in India, they migrate back to the north. So when the summer season starts in India, they again go to their place. Okay, students. So we have finished this session. Now it's evaluation time, students. I will ask you some questions. So you will answer me, unmute your mic and answer. First question is, you have to choose. I have given two options. You have to choose from that. So first question is, equinox occurs on the following 2 days in a year. A, 21st March and 23rd September, and B, 21st June and 22nd December. So which is the correct answer, students? A or
B,
B?
21st June and 22nd December.
Yes, that is wrong. That is solstice days. Okay.
Okay.
Hmm. First one is right. 21st March and 23rd September is the right answer.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, now next question is, solstice occurs on the following 2 days in a year. So now,
Option number A, 21st
21st
June.
June and 22nd
yes,
December.
correct. Now this is the answer for solstice days. So remember students, equinox occurs on 21st March and 23rd student, and solstice occurs on 21st June and 22nd December. Keep it in mind students.
Yes.
Next question is, the sun rays are perpendicular on the dash in an equinox.
Equator.
Yes,
Equator.
very good students.
Equator.
So the options, yes, the options were equator, Tropic of Cancer, and Tropic of Capricorn. So on equinox, the sun's rays are perpendicular on the equator.
Yes.
Now next, I will ask you some more questions. In the next slide, we will see question answers. Yes, you can answer in your own words, students. What is an equinox?
Hello,
Yes,
Miss.
yes,
Can I tell?
yes, please.
The circle of illumination
Yes,
divides all the parallel from North Pole to the South Pole equally on Earth. Everywhere on Earth, nighttime and daytime are of equal duration. This condition is called equinox.
yes, very good. And when this happens, students, on which 2 days in a year does the equinox occur?
21st March and 23rd
21st March
December.
and
Yes.
21st,
No,
23rd
no.
December,
Yes,
September.
23rd September, correct. 21st March and 23rd September. Now next, name the two types of equinoxes in northern hemisphere. So in northern hemisphere, when this equinox happens on 2 days, these 2 days are named after the seasons. So can you name them? Which are the two equinoxes in northern hemisphere? We have named them after the season. Yes, students?
Summer, winter, autumn, and styles.
Okay, these are the four seasons, students. But I'm asking you about the equinoxes. So we have seen equinox means what? The
Yes.
sun's rays are perpendicular and the north pole and south pole are at an equal distance from the sun. So in northern hemisphere, when this equinox happens on 21st June and 23rd September, sorry, 21st March and
21st June.
23rd September, these
Spring,
2 days are named, yes,
spring,
yes,
Spring or
yes,
vernal equinox,
yes,
autumnal equinox.
equinox.
yes, very good. So they are named after the spring season and autumn season. These 2 days are named as spring or vernal equinox and autumnal equinox. So now last question is, which are the solstice days? You have to give me the dates on which the solstice happens.
21st June and 22nd
22nd
December.
December.
Yes, very good. Correct. Okay, students. Now I will give you some homework for this session. Here you can see the first figure is of equinox days and the second figure is of solstice days. So here this second figure is half. Here you can see this in your textbook. You see the full figure. There are two positions of earth. By mistake, I have shown you the half figure. So you have to see in the textbook the solstice days and the equinox days. And you have to draw these diagrams in your notebook. Okay, students? Draw it properly, label it, name them, so you can understand how the equinox and solstice days happen. Okay, students? Have you understood the
Yes.
homework?
Hello,
And
Miss.
Yes.
if yes, if you have any doubt, you can ask me now.
What is migrate?
Yes, migrate means what? The
Going one place
animals or
to another
birds,
place.
they travel to some other region because they do not find food in their region. So in search of food, they go to some other region. That is called as migration.
And
Thank you,
mid
Miss.
sunlight.
Yes, students? Pardon me, what is your question?
Hello.
Yes,
Mid sunlight.
needs.
Mid
Mid
sunlight.
sunlight.
What you are asking, students? I don't understand.
Teacher, she is asking mid sunlight means what?
Mid sunlight. I have never told you about this, students. What is that?
She is asking.
Where did you find this, student?
In the region between 63 degree 30 second and 90 degree in the both the hemisphere, even the mid sunlight available for a part of the year gives rise to certain
On
flora
which
and
page
fauna.
number it is right?
49 page number, the cycle of
Ah, yes, yes.
the
Even
cycle
the
of season and
mid, that
living
is
world.
not mid, student. That is mild sunlight. Mild sunlight means what? Short means it is of low heat. Mild sunlight means what?
That is for creation of flora and fauna.
So when this region receives mild means what? Low heat they receive from the sun. That is called as mild sunlight.
Okay,
So
miss.
that is responsible for the growth of flora and fauna.
Yes.
That is not mild, that is mild sunlight. Okay.
Okay, miss.
Some other questions if you have, you can ask me, students.
Miss,
Yes.
Australia, when there is summer, in which month there is summer in Australia?
So summer season is in the December or November. When there is winter season in India, that time only there is summer season in Australia.
Hello, miss.
Yes.
मिस इधर बुक में एक क्वेश्चन आया है
Yes.
while India and England are located in the same hemisphere,
Yes.
why are the cricket matches in these two countries arranged in different months?
Because the climate is different, na, students? When there is summer season in India, there is winter season in England. So they arrange the matches according to the seasons.
Okay.
Okay.
Hello, miss.
Yes.
In which semester the snow is greatest?
Which hemisphere?
Which pole?
Which
Okay. Both the poles are receiving snow, students.
Means when it is greatest fall of snow.
Throughout the year it is having, but at 21st June, we have seen that the North Pole is towards the sun. That time there is summer season there. That time the snow, it gets converted into water. So from June to after June, there is summer season there, and before that they are having snow